All right. What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of Nikke Beginner Guide. And today we're going to be going over a very key aspect of the game, that being character growth. Now, it is very imperative and important that you pay attention to all of the steps and how to go about the whole process. So, obviously, I am not on my reroll guide. I am on my actual main account, and I do want to add one little thing before we actually get started, is that once you progress further into the game, you are able to join a union, a kind of like a group that that just plays the game, honestly. And so this is my group, Simpville. So if you do want to join a group, go ahead by all means. um if I have at the moment 12 open spots. I do plan on actually probably removing people who, as you can see, have not been on for quite some time, but that's that. So, character growth. How exactly do I get my characters to stronger, to grow? Well, there's going to be multiple different factors that go into that. So let's go ahead and jump down to someone who I don't have. Okay, let's go Brid right here. So as we can see, let's do. All right, so Brid is right here. Obviously, she has 2 dupes. And so we can go right here to limit break. Whenever you pull a dupe of a character, you are able to feed that in. And as you can see here, even though it goes up to 3 stars, for every dupe that goes into your character, you are able to increase their stats. So that is one aspect. Now, granted, that does mean that, either you are paying for pulls or you are doing the ordinary recruit banner to get said character. But this is one way to do it. Now, granted, that's like probably the one that's going to help the least, because if we jump over to level upgrade, as we can see here, Brid is level 1, and what materials you are going to be using is, well, this is only 3. Let's go ahead and let's do this. So we got all 3. So as we can see here, if I want to put all the materials I have available, Brid will go up to level 120, and these are the stats that she would be getting from, leveling her up to that point. So the first one is going to be your credit. Now, this is probably the most accessible material to level up characters in the game, because whenever you complete a stage, you are going to be getting credit, and you are also going to be getting battle data set. So these 2 pieces of currency are very prevalent, and they're everywhere essentially when you complete story mode and when you complete other key points, which we will go on later on with the beginner guide. So those are 2, key aspects. The third one is a little more hard to get, that being core dust. Now, this material right here is the bane of everybody's existence because it is the hardest one to obtain. Now, that's not necessarily saying that it's, it's impossible to get. It's very easy to get, quite frankly. But it takes a while to get a lot to level up your characters to a certain point. So those are avenues to increase your characters and level them up. Another thing to do to increase their overall power, because that is essentially what you are leveling up, is the overall power, right? We jump over here to skills. So as we can see here, my Brid is 2133. So let's say I want to increase one of her skills, right? I would go here and I would be using skill manual 1. Now these are all obtainable, as you can see here, through the simulation rune. Now there's different varied levels of difficulty. We'll cover that in a separate video. This is just the bare minimum right here. So again, you can see right here, it's 2133. I just want to upgrade her once. Boom, the power goes up, right? This doesn't necessarily increase her HP, her attack and defense. This just increases her overall power level, while also increasing her own individual skill. Or if you want to do the burst skill, it increases any of these depending on whichever one you want to do. So that is very important to know. So okay, I did all of that, and let's say I have a character like Noah here. I have my 3 dupes, all right, and I can only get to level 200. Why are you past 200? Well, in order to understand that, we got to go over to outpost. Now, I'll cover the outpost a little more in depth on another video. We're just going to be covering leveling up system. So for that, we'd have to go to the Synchro Device. Now, you are able to fully access this when you have, I believe it is 5 characters with 3 stars, and you're able to have them as your main set up top, because once you do that, that allows you to further enhance your characters. As you can see here, there's a bunch of different slots able to be opened, and you do this and just plug characters in. So let's do one for example. So to open up a slot, you need to spend 500 gems. As you can see, I have 929. We're gonna open that, right? So as we can see, my synchro level right now at the moment is 245. Okay, let's grab Zwei. So right now she's level 1, right? So I plug her in. As we can see here, it's going to increase her all the way to 245. This is just her level. It increases her HP, her attack, and defense stats. However, this does not increase skills or equipment in any of that. So going over here to her now, as we can see, her level is 245. I did already have some equipment on her, so just don't mind that. But we could see here that the power level has jumped dramatically. Obviously, she would not have been close to that at level 1. So that is very, very key and important to understand. And for the Synchro Device, how to increase this, we'll go to Enhance. This is the requirements that you need, right? So as we can see, I am low on my core dust. I need to grab some, so we'll go ahead and do that as well, just to show you where that could be obtained and what I personally do. Now, granted, I'm sure there's better ways to do as you progress further in story and just all the other stuff, but it's just something I do on like a passive day-to-day basis. So we are going to be going to story event. Currently out right now, it is Flora's, right? So we are going to jump over here and we are going to end. Whoops. Like that, we are going to enter, right? So you want to look for a repeatable story mode that gives out core dust. So I have not gotten to that point yet. I believe it is going to be right here, this one. And as we can see here, the reward information for this one is 1-4. We are able to obtain a chest, a 1-hour chest of the battle data set. And so I normally always go to that, and I always max out the amount of clears I can do and just get all of that. Then what I would end up doing is go to the shop, and I would use all of my story event currency to pick up the core dust cases. And once you completely drain all this, for me personally, I would then jump over to just regular core dust and try to drain all of that to max out. So those are ways to increase your overall character level. Now, for the next lesson, we are going to be going over actual equipment and dive more into that. Let's look at Red Hood real quick. The equips. We will dive more into this, as well as go over the, how to fully max them out. And then we'll also go over more in depth with cubes as well. That's going to be all for today's video. I hope you enjoy it, and I'll see you all within the next lesson.